told you? Who told you? Who told you? Who told you? You what? God design.
Hey everybody, what's going on? We back for another live episode. Thank you for joining. I hope everybody's having a great day today. We got a really exciting episode for you all today. I'm going to be talking about veterinarians. Want to keep it interesting. I was trying to think, what could I touch on next? And the vet is a big part of any healthy relationship that you're going to have with your new dog. So I figured that let me talk to you all about this veterinarians. The veterinarians are a big part of what we got going on. They are the key to health, and they're a check system for breeders. So it's important that we understand about selecting a good vet and how do we vet our veterinarians. We want to make sure that the veterinarian has the best interest of the dog. And how do we do that? How do we find the right vet for us? It's a lot to consider. It is not something that to be taken lightly. And before you get your dog, you should have an idea of the veterinarian that you're going to use. You should already have contacted several veterinarians. So we're going to talk to y'all today. I had an experience recently at the veterinarians, and that's going to be in our next episode that we going to be the video that we edited when we took the puppies to the vet. And I used a different vet than I normally use, but I got a relationship with them too. And I'm gonna give you all a bit of advice from me to you. You never put all your eggs in one basket. And I know it feels good when you have built a relationship and you want to maintain and stay with the one same hookup. But in my experience, it's best to have multiple hookups. You don't want to get caught up, because then things can change, and things do change. And then you don't have the same hook, and you're left there with no options. So you got to have multiple hookups. Don't put all your eggs in one basket. Make multiple relationships with different veterinarians. And that doesn't just apply to veterinarians. That could also apply to people. You want to make multiple connections. This vet that I used, when I first called him on the phone, it was a situation where time is of the essence. Post-pandemic, a lot of the veterinarians are overwhelmed with business. So you have to make preparations in advance and let the veterinarian know that you're coming. I give them a call. I told them, hey, do y'all have room for me to bring in the puppies? Yeah, we got room. Bring in the puppies. Come on, bring them on in for health certification. So I take the puppies there. And when I get there, this vet, I already know it's like the hustle when you get there. Okay, it take you back in the day when you had to negotiate, when everything was on the line, and it was critical negotiations. So I had to go into character. Okay, I had to go into character mode, and I had to let the vet know, like, look, you guys, I already know y'all, what y'all gonna try to do. Y'all gonna try to run up the price, and so I'm bringing a litter of puppies to the vet. Normally, when you take a litter of puppies to the vet, you want to have it established. We're not going to go each individual puppy and do a vetting. You're not going to charge me for each dog as if I'm bringing in a single puppy. I like to do a litter, like we're doing a litter evaluation. this vet, they gonna try to charge me all of this money. So anyway, I went in there. I had to let them know, look, y'all can't charge me all of this money because it's not fair. I already know that if it cost another vet $25 for the shot, it shouldn't cost you $100 for the shot. It's too much variation in the price. Why are you charging me this much? Why do you want to charge so much? And why are you they tried to charge me $50 for each health certificate. Okay. And it's just a whole lot. They don't even know what to charge. And when you go into the vet, they don't know. They look up the prices and then they come outside and they tell you, hey man, this is what it's gonna cost. And I'm like, wait, so we had to do some serious negotiations in this last edit. And I want to be clear with y'all. All vets do not have the breeder's best interest at hand. They're not looking out for the vet. And that's cool. Some of the vets. So I got a little presentation that I want to share with y'all. I tried to put more into this episode because last week I had some family issues going on. I'm a family man first. Got to see about my babies. My baby broke her ankle outside playing in the snow, and I wasn't able to do the episode. I didn't want to rush. So I made sure that I put more into this episode. So I hope y'all like what I got in store for y'all today. So we're talking about veterinarians, and this is the presentation that I have for y'all. So did you know that the veterinarian industry is characterized by a large share of market concentration? And I did some research finding out who's making these prescriptions. How does the vet make their money? I already know that it's a money scheme. They try to charge you 3-4 different times. And that's one of the indicators of another vet, a good vet, or when it's time to find another vet. When you go to the vet, I'm gonna give you a good example. If you take like a stool sample, that's a good question that you can call around and ask when you're doing your investigations. You kind of have to do a probe to find out what services are offered and versus the services that you need and how they're going to charge you for those services. A lot of the vets don't have the animal's best interest. They got to run a business. So let's understand that everybody got bills to pay. The veterinarians go to school to make money, to have an advanced career. So when you have these vets, they don't make as much as a human physician, right? So they have to make money. And how do they do that? From charging services. One of the biggest ways that the vets are going to make money is prescribing antibiotics. And basically they selling drugs or prescribing prescriptions. So a lot of that is controlled by big pharmaceuticals. Big pharmaceuticals are heavily involved in the veterinarian industry. This I did not know. And it's important to understand that because these are the safety nets for our dogs' best health. This is who is going to say, give you a pass or a fail when it's time to move your dog on to the next level. And that could be into the next home or advance the dog into age or getting the dog in health shots, which could be required by law. And you have to understand this, taking your dog before you take your pup in, because it's health risk associated with all of these over vaccinations and the different medications that they prescribe. Remember that Big Farm it's been controversial in the past, and the way that they've been dealing with humans and things that they prescribe for us, or that the new drugs that they come out with. We have had issues with side effects. We've had issues with, and we're talking about for humans. So when you apply this to dogs, it's just as important or our pets. It's just the same type of you heard about recalls, and you heard about dogs getting sick from medications prescribed by the vet. They're supposed to be safe, and we all care about our pets. We want to make sure that they remain safe. We go to the vet trusting and believing that they are going to provide us with safe medications, but they are influenced by big farm. The pharmaceutical companies have been able to manipulate their way into the veterinarian industry. So I didn't know that. And that's good thing. That's good information to have. That's good to know. We're talking about a very big industry here, the veterinarian industry. $18 billion big. That's what we spent on veterinary care in 2018. And that's because, like I've been saying, it's very important to your pet's health. Some things are required by law. And the veterinarian industry was primarily born out of the need for livestock. This kind of goes hand in hand with the agricultural industry. That's where vets' primary service to the country was. Prior to the 1930s and the industrialization of the United States, the dogs really didn't have veterinarians. If you talk to some of the old timers from back in the day, they'll tell you about how their dogs didn't get sick. Their dogs ate what they ate. The veterinarian, they never went to the vet. They never had shots. And that's the way that was told to me. My granddaddy told me about when he had dogs back in the day. They didn't take them to the vet they didn't take them to the vet at all. And the dogs didn't get sick. They had outside dogs that stayed outside year round. And that's fascinating to me. It's very different than the way that we think today, where the dogs have to go to the vet. And you got a lot of different approaches to that. So it's a lot of money at stake here. And it's all when there's money at stake, greed always seems to work its way into the factors its way into the final result. So people are going to do things for money, and they're not going to always act in a conscious way. Not saying that the veterinarian industry is full of scams or unethical. We don't want to believe that, and that's not what we're trying to say either. But it's a lot of money being made here, so just pay attention. Eight companies control over 70% of the total $18 billion in revenue. That's amazing. That is a very large market share for only 8 companies. Now, how do they get there though? One of the things that the drug makers do, they tie in with the American Veterinarian Association, the American Medical Veterinarian Association, and they have these big conferences. And then in the conferences, it's similar to the way that they market new drugs. The drug makers market pharmaceuticals for physicians. They have these big conferences where they talk about illnesses and ways of treating them. And when they do that, they're giving out prizes and gifts. They try to woo the veterinarians into promoting their brand or pushing their product. It's almost like a sales. You got suppliers, you got distributors, retailers, and the veterinarians are kind of like a retailer of the prescription drugs. They basically are. And one of the reasons that it's attractive and it's easier for, well, it's good for, it makes sense for them to market drugs to the pets is because they're able to get the drugs on the market faster. There's less regulations involved for pet meds. So they don't have as rigorous of a testing process. And they're able to get drugs to market faster because the government is more concerned about the dollars that they're spending. And those dollars are what they're going to regulate. So because the pet industry is not financed through insurance, it's easier, it's less safety checks, it's less of a process, and they're able to get their drugs to the market faster, which means that they can start selling faster and they can start making money and turning a profit. We're talking about $6 billion. So, that's very competitive. And they're going to do things that may seem unethical or maybe unethical when you're talking about physicians and humans, but it's allowed because, like I said, the pets are not, drug makers are not required to disclose payments that they make to the veterinarians, and they don't make this information public. So some of these drug makers or some of these veterinarians that are advocating for these prescriptions or these pharmaceuticals, they're being paid by the drug makers. The drug makers are paying the veterinarians to endorse their products or research their products and come back with findings based off of their research. We're talking about hundreds of thousands of dollars in some cases. This information is not public information. So we don't want to believe that the veterinarians and the drug makers are acting unethically, but there is room for greed to seep in. And we want to keep that in mind. The U.S. has a law, and it's called the Physician Payment Sunshine Act, where they are required to disclose these type of payments to the physicians that endorse the different drugs. Isn't this just for transparency? We want to know where you guys are spending your dollars and where you're putting this money at. The bottom line is it's a lot of money being made. Why the drug makers used the veterinarians to endorse their products is because the veterinarians are pushing the medicine. Humans' drugs are bought at pharmacies. You can't get human drugs without getting a prescription and passing it through a pharmacy. Then all of this information goes into a database. They know how much pills are going where. Veterinarians are selling all of the nation's pet medicines. That's 30% of their annual income is from drug sales. So we got to remember this. Veterinarians make their money selling drugs at the end of the day. And I got proof of that right here. Look at all of these meds that the vets prescribe for my dogs, and they're full of pills. Okay, we got gabapentin, cephalexin, Rimadyl, all of these different drugs that the vets prescribe for me. Look at this. I wanted y'all to see this, and I got another bag. Can y'all see that? All these prescriptions. So how do you find a good vet? You got 4 different type of vets, and we're going to discuss now how to find a good one. There's no picture there for the holistic vet, but the conventional vet, the modern veterinary practice is wait until your dog gets sick And once your dog gets sick, we're going to treat the illness. We're going to make sure that, and I find it funny that veterinarians are being sponsored also not only by big pharmaceutical companies, but companies like Banfield, corporate veterinary operations. They're funded by Purina. Purina, the pet food maker. So they're going to feed your dog the stuff to make it get sick. And then they also got the veterinarian there on site to treat your dog when it's sick. And conventional vets often are against the raw diet. They often sell Hill Science diet, and when you go to the veterinarian office, you'll see they ended up marketing. They got a bunch of different free samples, and this is how that this is how the drug makers solicit them by giving them free samples and stuff like that. Then you also got a holistic vet. Holistic vets, they use stuff like acupuncture. They have different ideas about treating. They promote wellness. They are so when you go to the vet, the holistic vet, they're going to do things where a wellness oriented vet. They're going to do things like tests before they treat. Okay, so they may do a urinalysis, blood work, stool sample, all of these different things to check all of these different things to make sure that your dog is healthy and stay healthy, versus waiting till your dog gets sick and then try to treat your dog for the sickness. So that's a different school of thought, and that's more of a modern style of practicing medicine. More and more people are starting to see that these vaccinations are unnecessary. The annual vaccinations are unnecessary. And what are the adverse side effects? What are the long-term health effects of that? We don't know. But only 30% of that $18 billion is being spent on medication. So you got a whole nother $12 billion being spent on tests, treatments, visits. It's a lot more money to be made. On the other side, these are the four main type of vets that you're going to be looking at. Like, so let's say if you get your new dog and you're going to try to find a good vet, you want to start building a relationship with a vet. Well, these are the basic different style of veterinarian school of thought, or the different type of clinics, right? So you have also your specialists, and the specialist vet, that's where we're talking about dental, orthopedic, surgeons, reproductive vets. Or the emergency clinic. These vets tend to have a laser focused on their treatments and practice. This is the type of vet that you're going to use as a breeder. You want to seek out kind of questions that you may have for the specialist, or when you're looking for something very specific service, you're going to ask them questions like, do you have a lab on site? This is important information because if you're going to be breeding dogs, time is of the essence. You need to get your test results within, in a timely fashion. So Specialized Veterinarian is going to have those type of services on site. They would and that's important information to understand. Is this veterinarian reputable in this area of expertise? So you want to know this in advance. Don't wait until your dog has to have a C-section and then to find out that this vet doesn't practice, doesn't do C-sections, or they're not equipped to do a C-section, and they have to call in a team of people. So before you send your dog up there, you also want to get an idea of what is it going to cost. And some of the vets could charge, if you're talking emergency clinic, somebody send you to an emergency clinic, we could be talking $6,000 to $10,000 in treatment, and depending on what the case is. So it's good to understand that the scale of the operation. Then you got your basic veterinarian. They tend to offer general care, and most they don't have the specialized services, but they're able to provide, testing, but they have to send it off to a lab. Those vets are good to have as a reference for last minute things. Like I said, with the veterinarian that we chose to roll with the other day, that's more of a small scale operation. No, it wasn't busy when I got there. Nobody else was there. I was able to get in, I was able to get out, even though it cost a little bit more, and they make up prices as they go. You still have to use those. You still have those vets. They still have their place. And I feel like variety is the spice of life. It's always good to have a nice variety. You don't want to get too caught up with, this is where I go and this is what I do, this is who I deal with. You want to try to get a good relationship with multiple vets. They may not be able to fit you in at the last minute. And you want to make sure that they have the services that you need. You want to make sure that they have the services. Okay. So that's it for today. I hope that we got a good understanding of what we're supposed to be doing for the choosing a vet. You want to look out for these vets that's going to try to charge you all of these additional fees. You want to look at a vet that is willing to test the stool or urinalysis. A good question for the vet is, do I have to bring my dog in, or can I just bring in the stool? Can you do a stool analysis, or is the dog required? Sometimes you may think that something's going on with your dog, and a good indicator is the stool. So the veterinarian is requiring it to do a stool analysis. The dog is not required. They can look at that through the microscope. The veterinarian is requiring you to bring in the dog, and then when the dog gets there, they want to charge you for an examination on top of. Then they want to recommend that you get vaccinations on top of the testing fees. This kind of vet, watch out. They're looking to run up a bill, and this is just unfortunate that some of the vets operate in this fashion, but it's the truth of the matter, and they'll take advantage of the unknowing. I've had situations with some of the vets. I ain't gonna name no names, but they try to play, and I'm not one that's going for the okie doke. You're not gonna have me go get coffee while you take my dog in the back, and then when I get back, you told me that you did all of these different things to my dog, and knowing that you haven't done less. I'm not going for the okie doke. And I've heard of horror stories. I know people that work for veterinarians, and they told me some of the things that the veterinarians do, and it's unfortunate. So I know that they can be unethical, and I don't want none of my board fans getting took, none of my supporters to get taken advantage of. I care about everybody, and it's good to understand. I'm here to help you. So if you have these type of questions, you get into a situation where the vet, and I go through it all of the time with my new clients when they receive their puppy. The veterinarian wants to know what all has been done, and then they want to start the process all over again, over vaccinating the dogs. That's not fair to the dogs, and we don't know the long-term health effects associated with that. I think that that's something that we need to take into consideration when we're treating our dogs. is this vet always going to try to administer medications without even knowing that the dog is sick? I'm going to give you another example, and you'll see this in the video. The veterinarian tried to charge me $15 per puppy for the worm medicine. My puppies has already been wormed. And I told him, look, you're going to charge me $15 per puppy for less than 1-2 millimeters of worm medicine, and I can buy a whole bottle for $20, 600 milliliters. Come on, don't worm my puppies out. You'll hear in the video, she says, oh, we're going to worm the puppies out for free. And that's custom practice in every veterinarian that I go to, because that's just what they do. When you're taking a whole litter, they want to make sure they know that all puppies have worms, because it's an evolutionary thing. It's just unfair. And if you got the best interest of your client, best interest of the puppy, then you don't do that. So I hope that y'all took something away from this today. Look, we working to it. We working. It's gonna get better. It's gonna get better every time. I got a whole box full of prescriptions from all of these C-sections, gabapentin, and come to find out, some of these drugs are being manufactured by the same people like Pfizer, Bayer, big pharmaceuticals. They play a role in this all, and we got to be paying attention, because not only does it impact our dogs, it's impacting our health too. We don't want to just get took. I appreciate y'all for joining. If y'all have more questions, now is the time. We're going to open it up for Q&A. If anybody got questions. If not, I'm going to catch up with y'all next week, or we're going to roll to a 2-week schedule where we roll on the first and the third Thursdays of the month. Y'all let me know what y'all think. That'll give us more time to prepare, more time to give you more in each episode. I appreciate y'all though. We're going to keep it rocking. Don't forget to visit boerboelpuppy.com. If you got more questions, you can always give me a call. I'm going to leave y'all with this. Like I always say, give it your best. Give it your all. You never know. Life is short. No doubt. I hope that it's gonna get even better though. It's gonna get even better. It's some very good information. I'm happy to be able to offer my services, and it's important to me. I feel like being able to give back, be able to leave the world with something that benefits the world. We got some live video. We got some nice edits. I've been busy on the edits, y'all. So stay tuned. I'm signing off. I appreciate everybody that's took a time out of their day for joining us. I'm gone, y'all. See y'all soon.
No rush, go on, move dumb. Back and forth, push and shove. Make your peace and love turn to peace and gloves. Now you got a deal run up. No rush, go on, move dumb. Back and forth, push and shove. Make your peace and love turn to peace and now you got a deal run up. Old gang, old man, old school, young jam.